from your group, but hopefully you saw the quiz in your progress report that I shot out to you last time. And there wasn't much more in that progress report. It was just pretty much the in-class quiz and a few loose ends. Keep an eye on that, especially now that it's midterms. Speaking of which, I gotta do midterms this weekend. Go. And I'm only going to send out midterm grades if you got the D and F in this class, which, as far as I can tell, next to nobody is. Yay. That's fantastic. Yay. Yay. But you also are getting your progress report every week from me, so you can track how you're doing. Please don't look in Blackboard for your grades. I don't put the in-class stuff in there. If I fix something, I don't fix it in Blackboard. I had one student, not from this class, getting upset with me. I keep checking Blackboard for my grade. Stop doing that. Just check your progress report that I emailed to you. That's got everything in it. I am going to redo the progress reports to make them a little easier to read. I realized on the ride up the hill today, yeah, some of my best ideas come when I'm riding the bike to work. It's a bit of a mess because the font is huge, like a 1990s guy, and the quizzes aren't in order because I don't always do quizzes in the same order term to term. Like that's a progress report template from last term. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to redraw it as a schedule. Week 1, week 2, week 3, and then put the grades that you did in that week in those columns so you can see what happened each week. And then just keep adding to it. I think that'll be easier for you guys to read, I think. We'll try it. You can tell me if it sucks or not. I think it's going to work better though. What else? How are the exams?
Do not procrastinate.
Okay, so that's one exclamation. Oh, do not procrastinate. Sweet Jesus.
Yeah.
I don't put them up 3 weeks ahead of time for my health.
I know.
Yes.
I know, and I
actually, speaking of which, now this is a good point. Thank you, Katie. Was 3 weeks enough to attack that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, good. I'm always worried about that. I don't want to give you guys too much. It's going to bury you because I know how you've got other classes. I know you've got work. Some of you have families too. I understand all that, so I try to give you as much. But the problem I always, it's like a kind of a give and take. The whole too much rope, you're going to hang yourself thing. Like sometimes I worry by putting something out there 3 weeks ahead of time. Like here it is. And then you forget about it. But then I got to I'm not them. They have to learn how to deal with that. So hopefully it was enough time. Yes, Candace, go ahead.
Well, part of mine was I worked on it 3 weeks early, and then I circled all the stuff that I needed to go back.
And then forgot to go back.
And no, I did. I went back 3 weeks later, but then I had kind of forgotten what I did. So
yeah.
I don't know. Then I was questioning my answers, and then
So things like this, my phone dinging to remind me to do things. I'm riding into work today. Did you guys see the sunrise?
Yes.
I saw it 25 minutes early. I set an alarm for 25 minutes to go onto the roof, take a picture of it, because I know I forget. Once I got inside, I have to do stuff like that all the time. It was gorgeous, right? Yeah. But I have to do stuff like that all the time. Just little reminders to yourself. Now, part of that is because I'm as ADHD as they come. I'm a poster child for that condition. But I don't think that it's a bad idea in general to do those little things for yourself. I love the fact. Sometimes I do the same thing. I make little piles on the desk to remind myself to
I had to go back pretty much over the whole thing because
sometimes that happens.
What I did.
Yeah, and that's part of being in school too, is learning how to be organized and be efficient. I mean, honestly, so much of it is just dealing with that. So, but my big question was, you did have enough time to get it all done. Good. Yep. And I'll have the next one up 3 weeks before it's due as well. I'll send a note out when it's posted. I've got ideas of what's going to be on there already. I've got some fun ideas floating around, including a study I just heard about 3 hours ago. Linda, please.
Just curious, does the whole fit have anybody who's finished the
Nobody's ever done 15. Yeah. The Holy Grail is 15. It's still the Holy Grail. Yeah, I haven't done 13 since that day. I always hit 12 and some change. Draw League hit 14. I'm pretty sure Zach got 14 once today. I'm pretty sure he did too, that fast bastard. Love you, buddy. But 12 and 11 and 10 is kind of like the median of the class now. It used to be, it's funny because it used to be 10. And then we started tracking on it and saying, well, I got 11. I'm like, well, shit, I'm gonna run faster. And then we started, it was funny because we actually could watch over the course of 10 years watching the class get faster, which is fun. But no, 15 is, now I'm sure if you dropped like Ashton Eaton in our class with us, we'd have people doing 18 and 19. Because 32 second, 200 yards is not much for somebody that is a fast sprinter.
Right.
I'm not a real fast sprinter. I'm like a zebra. I'm not a cheetah. I can run 10 miles forever, at a decent pace forever. But no, 15 is still unattainable right now. Nobody's even finished 14 since Trolley did it, except for Zach, I think, that one time. He may have counted wrong. Yeah, Candace.
I have a question on this project. I just noticed it.
Ask me a break, if you would.
Yeah.
Please.
No, it wasn't. I'm not on the project. It's due next week.
Oh, it is due next week, yes.
Okay. I just had. Did you mention it already?
I'm sure I did at some point.
Okay.
Yeah. I try to do, like,
And I have it printed out and everything.
Good,
so,
good. Yeah, I mean, technically speaking, I mentioned it on the first day of class. That's a bastard thing to say. That's a bastard thing to say, right? Yeah, so you heard all 4 of them on the first day. So what I try to do, though, is I try to give you those heads ups about what's coming down the pike. Yeah. So anyway, I will get into your exams today. I'm hoping to have them knocked out by tomorrow.
Oh, good.
I am. I really want to get these things back to you guys ASAP. I don't like having you wait. Also, I had a huge epiphany yesterday. Blackboard doesn't suck.
What?
Dude, I've been bitching about Blackboard for how long now? 5 weeks.
Yeah.
I sat in, we had a little seance last night, me and Blackboard. I was in there for 5 hours with the 105 exams, cracking them open, and I'm going through it, I'm like, this is the most pleasant experience I've ever had. And then I realized what happened. It's obviously not working for about 5% of people. I don't know why. It's not the student's fault. It's either login issues, it's connectivity issues, but those 5% of people are generating about 99.9% of the negative feedback I get for Blackboard. I don't get any positive feedback for Blackboard. You guys just use it. You upload, you use it, you're happy.
Yeah.
So all I'm hearing is negative. And then I feel bad because all I want to do is protect you guys and have you learn. So I get pissed at Blackboard. And I'm going through last night, I'm like, shit, I'm wasting my energy. What I got to do is refocus on the 5% and make sure they're happy. And then I won't hear anything about Blackboard and I can stop talking about it. Epiphany. It was like choirs of angels singing. My mood got like infinitely better. Shit. So I apologize for all this bitching about Blackboard I've been doing. It works great.
You have an aha moment.
It was. After I worked with you guys yesterday, I actually cracked it open. I was there till about 7 o'clock last night. I'm like, oh my God, this works fantastic.
We've been using Blackboard for about 4 years.
Yes.
So when the other students were complaining, we were just thinking that it was new to them.
I think that's what it is. And I did learn by talking with students yesterday. I thought all of you guys, when you got here, were given like a quick training on Blackboard.
No.
That is not the case in general. Some of you are. If you do Bobcat orientation, apparently you do, right? But it's not a general rule. So that's what I discovered. I'm like, all I got to do is work on mini Blackboard training into the first week of 243. Done. Easy. Do this. Take a screenshot of this, put it in a Word document, and submit it. Take a Word document, convert it to a PDF. Use these tools if you need to. Submit it. Boom. Quizzes. Done. And then if you can't do it, you don't go to class because I don't want to deal with you. But that's the idea, is if I can train you how to use Blackboard, then I take care of the 99.99% of the negativity, and we're done, and we're happy, and yay. Sweet Jesus. So I was actually hearing the outliers. But the outliers were the most vocal. They were the vocal minority. And that I got a biased sample, you see?
Right.
Exactly, they were skewing the average. The average is everybody's doing just fine, but the outliers are so loud that I had no idea where the average was.
I think it's kind of important because so many instructors do it so different on Blackboard. They want it submitted differently. Some people wanted Word, some people wanted it in the box, some people wanted it in PDF.
So actually, bringing that up, should I just say everything must be PDF?
Yeah.
Or is it better to have the option of doc or PDF?
That option.
Is it better to have the option?
Yeah.
My gut is that it's better to have the option.
Yeah, give somebody the option.
Okay. Okay, I think so too. Again, it's one of those things though. It's that balance of, do I give you too much that you hand yourself with, right?
No, it's not everybody has a scanner. Some people don't have access to the same tools to be able to.
Absolutely. And again, this is what I'm envisioning for those quizzes in the first week of creating the tools, giving a bullet list of tools. Use these tools. These tools work. Does that make sense? Yeah. So good. Thank you for your guys' feedback. I appreciate that. Yeah, Katie.
You said that do you have several chances to reload it? Because like
I screwed up on this one. I thank you guys for sending me emails. I always check that box that allows multiple submissions. Apparently I forgot to do that this time.
Yeah.
So if anybody tried to submit multiple times, that's my bad. So if you tried to submit more than once and you couldn't, just email me your exam and I'll take care of it. That was my bad. I think the default should be multiple submissions, but it's not. The default is one submission and you have to change it, and I just forgot to do that this time. So if that screwed you up, just email me your exam, we'll take care of it.
Okay.
Yeah, I apologize.
That happened with the quiz this week.
It did it too? Shit. See, I usually have this
I
pattern.
didn't try to, I just noticed that it disappeared after I submitted.
Oh no, it should disappear after. Oh, after you submitted.
After I submitted it, the link disappeared.
Gotcha,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
means I
it's-
had it in one. Yeah.
When does it disappear? Because I was going to
At the start of class, 15 minutes ago, all the links disappeared.
Oh, it was gone this morning.
Yeah, it was right after you submitted it, it disappeared.
I didn't.
That's because it's the one,
Oh,
because I
I
screwed
didn't
up the
submit
setting. Because I screwed the setting
It
up.
did it with the test, it just did with the quiz, not with the exam, for me anyway.
I'm
It
just
did with
confused.
the quiz after I submitted it. I just noticed that the whole link was gone.
We still talking about Blackboard?
Quiz.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I promised I wouldn't do this anymore.
Question about
Yeah.
Stats.
Yes, stats.
About outliers.
Yes.
The trimmed mean.
Yes.
It seemed like, depending on which resource I looked at online, some of them refer to, when they say like a 10% trim, some of them are referring to what they trim.
5 and 5?
Some of them are referring to what they leave.
Oh, really?
Unless,
No. I believe you. I just think that that's the exception, not the rule. So Tom Googled trimmed mean, which I hope most of you had to do as well on the exam to figure out what a trimmed mean was and why it's called a 5% trimmed mean. I thought you were going somewhere different. I thought you were going to say it's a 10% trimmed mean.
Well, it could be like that it's either split or it's 10 on each side.
Right, so that was the idea. What does a
Maybe
10% trimmed mean? And this is where you have to read carefully to know what they want. A 10% trimmed mean, in my book, can mean two different things. It could mean you remove the bottom 10% and the top 10%, leaving behind 80. Or it could mean that you remove 5 and 5 and leave behind 90. So you have to ask, if somebody wants one of those, ask them exactly what they want. But your question is different, Tom. You're saying that a 10% trim mean might leave 10 behind and remove 45 and 45.
I probably misread that part.
That's it could have been mistyped in by the publisher too. Yeah, I think the first two options are unclear because I don't think anybody has a die-hard ironclad definition. The idea is you're removing the extremes.
Right.
You just want to make sure you know what the extremes are that everything removed are. And this is where things like help menus come in. So if you use the trim mean command in Excel, you can just Google the trim mean command, it'll tell you what it's doing. And I believe a 5% trim mean means it's taking 5 and 5. So you're losing 10. I think. I'm going by memory, don't trust it. I've Googled it. But that's what I think it means for an Excel. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Just make sure you Google what computation is happening. And make sure you know or what the person that's doing that wants you to do.
I mean, in my book, it makes sense to refer to the total that you're trimming.
Me too. That's what I would default to as well. But make sure that the person you see, this is the thing. And there's an old New York City hardcore band called Gorilla Biscuits I've grown up with. I've listened to these guys for years and years. And one of my favorite lyrics to them is, "It's not who's wrong, it's how we get along." And I love that line because I always think about that in a discussion like this. It doesn't matter how you define it. And if you think you're right or you think they're wrong, as long as you're talking the same language, then we're all happy, right? So when you and me, we're talking exactly the same trim mean, but if person C thinks it's different, if they're calling, then they're an idiot. Then they're an idiot. Get out of my house. No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. But then you say, oh, I see. What you're calling a 95% or a 5% trim, I'm calling a 10% trim. But we're actually saying the same thing. And then boom, we get our work done. So I don't have a good ironclad answer because I don't think one exists for you. Fair? This is good, and I like that segue, believe it or not, because so much of this class is great. I can't wait to read what you guys wrote in your exams, because I guarantee I'm going to have like 75 different responses for some of these questions, and I love that. How many eggs do I get on average? I can't wait to read what you guys say. Right, because anything you typed in was right. The question was, what would you say?
Yeah.
Did you catch that?
Yeah.
What would you say when your neighbor asked how many eggs you get? By the way, right now we're getting 0. Because 3 of my girls are 4 years old, they're done. And Agnes is scared crapless because her little sister got murdered. So, right now we're getting none. Right now we're getting none. But, on the data you guys had from a year or two ago, I know Kendra said too, and so was Max. But we'll analyze the flock in a minute. When I say a minute, I mean 3 weeks. So, at any rate, what would you say? How do you think this graph is misleading? I mean, all we're doing is developing tools. And you guys run with them. And I love the segue of what do you mean by trimmed mean? And the way that Tom led into that was, what do you mean by outliers? Or speaking of outliers, we've been referring to this term all term, right? The term out, we keep talking about it, right? Let's regroup. I've heard me use this term. I've heard you start to use this term. I cannot tell you how happy I'm to hear you guys using it. Tell me what you mean when you